go out slow nights. If you work in like the Midwest, winters are dead. Like, you make little to no money if you are a dancer in Chicago. Like, nobody wants to come out to the strip club in the middle of January, especially after, they spend all their money during the holiday season and stuff. The only times people really come out in droves when it's cold outside is when it's a holiday, like Halloween, Christmas Eve, New Year's, and like Valentine's Day. But people aren't like hitting the strip clubs in droves in the middle of fucking winter when, it's snow outside and it's like freezing below zero. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something that has kind of just been on my mind lately. This is kind of like an impromptu video. This isn't my typical content. I'm trying to like go like into posting like more art content, but this has been something that has just been on my mind lately, and I had a conversation with my partner yesterday about it, and I feel like I should make a video about it. So this is going to be like kind of a rant. I'm not a conservative person. I'm not gonna like get on here and condemn people for being in the sex work industry. So if you're a sex worker and you're like afraid to watch this video because you think that I'm gonna be mean to you and I'm gonna call you names and say that you need Jesus or whatever the fuck, this isn't that kind of video. This isn't a video to shame, or this isn't like a video to like be like I'm holier than thou or like judgmental or whatever. I just feel like there's a level of responsibility that we should take when we share certain content on the internet. So, in case you guys don't know me, my name is Ellen. I go by Rain on the internet. It just makes things easier to have like a separation of identity from like my real self and my internet self and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna be outing myself in this video, okay? I used to be a dollar tripper in my early 20s, okay? So I know what it's like to work in the industry, and I know what it's like to have friends in the industry, and I still have friends in the industry today, and I have friends that do various forms of sex work, and I'm very like supportive of the sex work community, and I'm very like open-minded to a lot of things. So this isn't like gonna be a super negative, judgy type of video. I'm just kind of annoyed because I keep seeing videos of people glamorizing sex work. And I'm not saying that if you're just posting videos or pictures of you at work and you're talking about your job or you're talking about your clients, your customers, whatever, you simply existing is glamorizing sex work. I'm talking about people who literally post pictures and videos of huge sums of money, and people who are just flexing, like, look at my nice nails, look at my hair, look at my makeup, look at this extravagant vacation I just went on, look at this expensive car, look at this expensive house, look how glamorous I'm living, and this is your sign that you need to start dancing. Like, I'm talking about those type of videos. But if you're somebody who is a sex worker, you're somebody who's a dancer, somebody's a stripper, and you're just sharing story times on the internet, you're talking about your experience with customers, you're talking about your experience being in a relationship as well as being a sex worker, you're doing story times about traveling and stuff. I'm not talking about you just existing and sharing your experiences. I'm talking specifically to people who flex on the internet their wealth and the glitz and the glam, and they're like, this is your sign that you need to start dancing, this is your sign that you need to start stripping. And like, I'm specifically talking to those people. I am aware that male strippers exist, but it is a mainly woman dominated industry, and it's very male centric, mainly towards straight males. They're the ones who spend the most amount of money. They're the reason why this industry exists. So I just feel like if you're gonna share content like that, you should also talk about the downsides. You should talk. You should show the days where you don't make as much money. You should talk about your struggles. You should talk about some of your hardships. You should talk about why and how you got into this lifestyle. Because a lot of times when people enter sex work, they're not in a good place in life. And I'm not saying that you have to be a loser in order to get into sex work or, you know, saying anything bad about that. But a lot of people who I know, including myself, they're not in the best places in life when they get into this industry. And it's not the kind of thing that you should jump into if you're dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, and you're more vulnerable and susceptible to different things. So I just wanted to talk about some of the not so glamorous parts of the industry, but I'm gonna like take you guys back and talk about how I got into dancing. Like, why did I get into this? So I got into dancing because I was a model. Like, I was an alternative model, I did nude modeling. I started modeling on the East Coast, and things were like a lot more profitable over there. Like, I was able to work as a freelance model and make like hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars a week, not being with an agency, just, you know, being a weirdo. Like, looking how I look now. Of course, I was a lot more toned down back then. I was 19 when I first started, and I was kind of put in a spot where modeling became my job because it was the only thing I knew how to do, and I didn't have any skills or experience getting into other things. Like, it was, you know, around 2011, 2012 when like the recession hit in 2008, but like the ramifications and the effects of it were still being felt around this time. Is, you know, when I was competing, like me as a recent high school graduate was competing for entry-level jobs with people who were fully grown with kids and mortgages and bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, who had suddenly lost their jobs and their industry tanked, and, you know, they had to take whatever they can get. I was dealing with jobs where like I would go, like I was seeing an ad in the paper for Potbelly, and I would go there and talk to the manager, like my professional clothes on, and like have my resume and everything, and then they'd be like, actually, you need like 3 to 5 years of professional sandwich making experience in order to work here. Knowing damn well all the people that were there are like in high school, like they're like my age, so I was just like confused because I was like, what the hell is professional sandwich making experience? So I just like started getting into modeling, and I noticed that most of the jobs that paid for modeling were nude modeling. So I was just like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll be a nude model now. So that's kind of like how I got into like being a nude model and, you know, doing all this other stuff. I used to work with lots of artists, sculptors, designers, work with like a lot of art schools, art colleges, or just like colleges that had like art programs. Like, I would do a lot of stuff there. And then I moved to Chicago, and things were just not as lucrative for me as a model. Like, I would get shoots here and there, but, you know, like it ebbs and flowed a little bit differently here than when I was living on the East Coast. I am originally from Chicago, but I lived in Maryland for 2 years after I graduated from high school. So I moved out to Chicago, and then, you know, I made friends, and I made a friend with a girl who was also a model. She was also like an alternative model, and she also did nude modeling. And, you know, we had a lot in common. You know, we're both goth, we're both alternative, we're both into modeling, and, you know, like, we had like a lot in common. We were friends and such. And, you know, we were talking about our experiences modeling and how it's not as lucrative as being in other states, and how Chicago sucks, and how we tried like getting jobs like outside of modeling, like real like jobs similar to our peers, like how we tried to like get jobs in McDonald's and be a waitress or go work retail or whatever. And we were talking about how we were dealing with these crappy experiences, whereas like, well, I can't just rely on modeling because I'm working with these crappy photographers that don't know what the hell they're doing. They're taking these shitty ass photos of me, and I'm dealing with these creeps. There would be times where I would just do a shoot and I'd be like, this guy sucks, but he pays a lot, and I really just need to like power through this shoot just so like I have enough money to pay my rent, and then I have to go do another shoot, and I really just need to power through that shoot so I can like buy groceries today. I really need to just power through the next shoot just so that I can pay my phone bill so I can continue getting work. And like how it was like a legit struggle. Like we were trying to like be like these normal people and get normal jobs, and then we were like dealing with all this crap. So we were sharing our experiences talking about that, and then she was like, actually, I have something to tell you. I actually found a job that pays really well, and I don't have to deal with these crappy photographers anymore. Like, yeah, that stuff sucks, but let me tell you about this new job. And you have to promise to not like be judgmental or whatever. I was like, I'm not judgmental. Like, what's the job? And then she told me that she had actually been dancing for the past couple of months, and it's really helped her out a lot. She's been able to save a lot of money. She's been able to support herself a lot better. She's not, like asking her parents for money or anything. And I was like, oh wow, that sounds really cool. What is it? And and she's telling me about like how much money she makes, and sorry, dog's working. She was telling me like how much money she makes and how good it was to her, and like how it could kind of suck at times, but whatever. And she told me the club that she worked at, and they're hiring, the whole audition process, and she kind of walked me through everything. I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it out. So I went to the audition, I got the job. Side note, I saw a video on YouTube, and I didn't click on it, but it was just like, pretty privilege doesn't exist. And I'm like, really? You want to explain to me how I got a job as a stripper? I don't know how to twerk. I don't know how to pole dance. They just hired me because I'm pretty and I have a big ass. But pretty privilege doesn't exist, right? Okay. Anyways, so I got the job and I started working. And then as I was working there, I made friends with other people, and they were telling me, watch out for this, watch out for that. Oh, don't talk to that guy, don't talk to this person. And like they were like teaching me how to kind of size people up in like different ways to like be safe. And because I had that support system and I didn't just go into it by myself without anybody helping me, I just learned a lot of ways in which to protect myself, and I was able to avoid a lot of the toxic situations that I've heard so many horror stories about. And I just kind of want to talk about that. So you can say like, hey, I found this awesome job that pays really well. Like people are judgmental about it, and you're going to deal with some crappy people here and there, but like it pays a lot. But you can also say like, yeah, it pays a lot, but also watch out for these things. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of what you guys should watch out for. Watch out for clubs that are legit brothels. Watch out for clubs that are just like in really bad, sketchy areas. Hi, so this is editing me, and I just want to mention a few things that I forgot to mention in the video when I was recording earlier. So, and mentioned racism and colorism. Like there were rules, like the club that I worked at had rules like, well, they told me I couldn't wear my natural hair, and you couldn't wear your hair out if it was short and colorful. Me. But the white girls, they were allowed to wear colorful hair, and everybody else is allowed to wear their natural hair. And there was a light-skinned black girl that worked there, and she had like very loose, like type B kind of curls. She was allowed to wear her natural hair, but I had to wear a wig because I was told that, short hair isn't allowed, colorful hair isn't allowed, that hair texture isn't allowed, that's not professional. So, excuse me, I had to burp. So if you are a black girl and you are a natural, or somebody like me who doesn't like wearing wigs, you don't like straightening your hair, you're going to encounter a lot of places that are going to tell you that the way your natural hair comes out of your head is unprofessional, is unpresentable, it's not like a part of the fantasy and whatever. And I also want to mention that there are like different rules in terms of wardrobe. Like gentlemen's club, they like you wear gowns, and like a strip club, you can wear bikini, you can wear like whatever. And then there's places like in New York. I've always seen like New York strippers complain about how like in certain clubs the bartenders can dress exactly like the strippers, and it confuses the customers. So they end up like trying to get dances from the bartenders, and the bartenders sometimes they'll start dancing. It's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, you had one job, stick to it. Like, what are we doing? And then there are certain clubs where like you have like booths that people can rent, and if you're like not in the booth already, when they start throwing money, you can't go over there. And the only way you can make money is by being in the booth. No matter what club you work at, you do not make money on the stage. You make money from the lap dances. And the lap dances on the floor are usually like between $5 to $20 plus tips. Not a lot of money. The real thing is to sell the VIP rooms, and there's levels to the VIP rooms. And in some clubs, they have sales quotas where you have to sell like a certain amount of VIP rooms in order to continue working there. And depending on your schedule, what you do around the week, like everybody wants to work weekends. Everybody wants to work weekends, right? But some clubs, they make you pick at least 1 or 2 weekdays. So you have to work a Sunday, you have to work a Monday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday or whatever, like one of those nights. So if you're somebody that's in school, or you already have like a full-time job, or I don't know, you have something else going on during the week, it's gonna be hell on you. If you have to work like a 9 to 5, come home, shower, change, and then go. I also want to mention that being a stripper costs money. You have to pay a house fee. The house fee can range anywhere between $75 and it can go all the way up to like $300 to $400. And then there's tip out. Usually tip out is about $20 per person for like house mom, DJs, bartenders, the bouncers, manager, whatever. They usually range between 5 to 10 people. So expect to spend an additional $100 to $200 plus on top of house. Also, some clubs have rules against how high your heels can be. And if you're somebody that's tall and has larger feet like me, you're going to have a hard time finding those heels. So, for example, the club in particular that I worked at, they had a rule where your heels cannot be above 5.5 inches. I am 5'9". Where did they do that at? It was so hard to find high quality, sturdy heels that were approximately 5.5 inches, not 6, 5.5 inches. So, yeah. Also, you're not allowed to wear shoes that are not stripper shoes. Even if you find a pair of shoes that are of platforms and they're much better quality, you're not allowed to wear them because technically they're not stripper shoes. And they will give you shit for it. Also, if there isn't a whole lot of girls in the club and there isn't a whole lot of customers, some clubs will charge you a fee. If they call your name to the stage and you don't hear it, or you're with a customer or whatever, they will fine you like $20 or $50 or whatever if you're like late to stage, because they want like a good rotation of girls. So if you're like downstairs getting ready and you don't hear the intercom or whatever, then you're just getting charged money and fine out the ass here and there and here and there, and on top of like nights being slow or whatever. So yeah, racism, colorism, fat phobia, like it's a mess. But yeah, I'm done now. These are blue light glasses. They're not prescription at all. I'm just wearing them to edit so that my eyes don't get weary from looking at the screen. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of this video. See, like what kind of people are going in and out of those spaces and whether or not that's the type of places you want to be. Some of these clubs are fucking trap houses. I'm not even like trying to be like classes or mean or judgmental or whatever. Like, I'm just saying the truth so that you guys can be safe. Not all clubs are made equal. There is a difference between like a strip club and like a gentleman's club. Like, a gentleman's club is like more corporate. They're gonna want you to wear gowns. It's mainly, what we refer to as white clubs, where the clientele is more white. Is where they refuse to play rap music because they don't want to attract that type of crowd. It's where if you give them like some hip hop or rap music, they'll either refuse it or the DJ will cut it with like EDM or Taylor Swift or whatever to make it more classy. And then there's black clubs and then there's white clubs, and like there were different expectations. Like, if you go to like a white club and you're like a black person like me, they probably won't hire you, or they'll have like a quota of how many black people they hire, or they only hire people that have like a certain look. Like, if you're a more palatable type of black person and you have like more ambiguous features, then you're more likely to get away with certain things that somebody like me just would not get away with. And then there's black clubs where it's like they play a lot of trap music. They try to support the local like music scene, up and coming rappers. So like some of the music is just gonna be really crappy rap music. And like, I know I'm biased because I'm the person that doesn't like rap music, but even I can admit like there's like decent stuff that you can vibe to, and then there's stuff that's just like, dude, why does this exist? So yeah. And then if you go to like a black club, they're looking for thick, BBL type girls. They don't want like skinny girls. And if you do get hired in a place like that because you're cute and you can dance, you're not gonna make as much money as like the BBL looking girls, or like the people who are like thick. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to watch out for pimps. Human trafficking is a very real thing. I made a video about human trafficking about a year ago, so if you want like more details about different ways that human traffickers try to get you, I highly recommend that video. I also recommend you learn about things like manipulation, indoctrination. I highly recommend you guys look up the BITE model, that like how to identify cults, and those tactics are used. Pimps don't look the way that you think they do. They're not going to be flashy. They're not going to have like 20 different rings and 5 different chains. They're not going to wear like a bright ass suit, a cowboy hat, and some snakeskin shoes. They're not going to be like these cartoony caricature people. They're going to look like normal people. And unless you're used to being in that environment, you're not going to know the difference between them and a regular customer. So like, you really need to watch out for that because it's very dangerous. A lot of people think that, like people approach you directly and they ask you, hey, do you want to go sell your ass real quick? It pays real money and I'll take all your money and beat you up occasionally. Like, no, it doesn't start like that. It's indoctrination. It's different tricks. It's different ways they go about doing things to make things palatable for you. It's ways that they stalk you and figure out your weaknesses and different ways to manipulate you. That's why I say, like, if you're somebody that is coming out of an abusive relationship, you're coming out of an abusive home life, you're more vulnerable and susceptible to that manipulation because of a technique called love bombing. Love bombing is a technique that narcissists and abusers use to just shower you with love and affection and make it seem like they're gonna give you the world, and then they slowly like test your boundaries and push your limits and strip different parts of yourself to you, and it's so bad. A lot of people get in this industry and they're like, oh my gosh, I'll never do extras, I will never go into escorting, and this is their only thing they have going on. They're not investing in their education or any trades, they're not in school, they don't like have other things going on that's outside of the club, and then I don't know, one day their kid gets sick, they have a few slow nights, their rent's due, their tail light goes out, and now they have to go and do something strange for a little change to make the money that they need to make as a bare minimum to survive, on top of all the work that they do dancing. And stories like that are common. And you may think, oh no, I would never do that, or that's never going to be me. And then you hear about somebody exactly like you having to go through something like that. Like, people don't talk about how a lot of people in power, a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians, they either own these clubs or they're like in some way with the club owners, and how they pay people to look the other way when people are being assaulted, when people are being kidnapped, when people are being trafficked, when people are being abused. They don't talk about how no matter what branch of sex work you're in, or how innocent you think you are in compares to like a full service escort, like the system of misogyny sees us all as whores and dehumanizes us as such. Nobody talks about how like in certain states, like in certain places in the Bible Belt, you have to go and like register as an independent contractor with the courthouse before you could dance. You can't just go there and start working. And how that shows up on your background checks when you go and work other jobs in other industries. Talks about how if you're somebody who is an undocumented immigrant or somebody who recently got your citizenship, how like that kind of like puts a mark on your background check, like extra when you like go apply to different places. Like especially in states that like make you register with the state as a dancer. Nobody talks about how like when crimes happen against sex workers, especially those that are black and brown, and that just goes extra if you're trans or queer, they do not get investigated because you're seen as disposable. Like the only time it gets investigated is either when it starts happening to the white escorts, dancers, other people in the industry, or when like it goes viral on social media, or like other people are like making noise about it. But there's so much violence that happens towards women in general, like femicide is like at a high. Like misogyny is literally killing women and femme presenting people. And how like it goes extra when you're a sex worker, and extra when you're a person of color, and extra when you're trans. And like there's different levels in which you are oppressed, and how like that just adds to it. I'm sorry, the dogs are barking. Or yeah. So you will have slow nights. If you work in like the Midwest, winters are dead. Like you make little to no money if you are a dancer in Chicago. Like nobody wants to come out to the strip club in the middle of January, especially after, they spend all their money during the holiday season and stuff. The only times people really come out in droves when it's cold outside is when it's a holiday like Halloween, Christmas Eve, New Year's, and like Valentine's Day. But people aren't like hitting the strip clubs in droves in the middle of fucking winter when, you know, it's snow outside and it's like freezing below zero. Like, nobody wants to go to the club in like below zero weather. Like, people do go and you can make some money, but it's not gonna be anywhere near as much as you would make when it's spring and summer, when they're, you know, like more people are like out and about. Nobody talks about how cold people are in the industry, like the people who work there, the managers and the owners. There are owners and managers of these clubs that literally will not talk to you directly. They will sit there, stand there right in your face within arm's reach and talk to the house mom or to the manager, to have that person speak to you. Like, they'll speak through the other person towards you. They won't directly acknowledge you or look at you. There are people who act like they're too good to talk to you directly. And how, like, fucking rude that is. Nobody talks about how, like, some of these places you go to audition there, and instead of it being, like, an audition night, they just put you in a corner with no music and tell you to dance. And you're like, dude, what the fuck? I don't have any music? Nobody's here yet? Like, what is this? And just stuff like that. Theft is really, you know, a huge problem. Some of these places, they don't give you a locker, or the lockers aren't that great. So, and if people steal from you and you like get into it with them, especially if you're new, then you just get kicked out and you don't get any of your money. And like, you can't call the police when crimes happen to you in the club because of misogyny. Like, calling the police when you are the victim of a crime as a dancer, regardless if you're at work, you're at home, or what, it puts you in danger. There are states within the U.S. currently, to this day, in 2021, where it is perfectly legal for a cop to have sex with you while you're in their custody. I put that in quotation marks because there's no way that there's consent involved in that. It's literally sexual assault. So, yeah, and like there's just so many different layers to this, and how dangerous it can be, and how it can have effects on you in your future. You may not care about what people think. You may not care about people judging you. You may not care because you're just focused on your money, but you still like are gonna have to deal with real life consequences. And the longer you're in the industry, the more at risk you are. So if you're going to post things on the internet, flashing your money and talking about like how glamorous it is, and this is your sign you should get into dancing, you should also talk about some of the negative things and teach people how to be safe. Because I cannot tell you how many times I see those videos on my For You page on TikTok, or I'll be scrolling through Instagram and I see them or whatever, and there will be so many people like in the comments like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I turn 18, this is what I want to do. And that is not a job that I would recommend to somebody that is either still in high school or fresh out of high school, because like you're just very vulnerable to a lot of manipulation and abuse, and it's really insidious, and like you just don't want to put yourself in that situation. Like, this isn't a fun thing to do. Like, it can be fun and you can make a lot of money, but it's not a thing that you should base your whole entire future on. I would recommend you use the money to get a trade, go to school, invest in a business, invest in a side hustle. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention in this video is stripper money. Okay, stripper money is literally this fake ass currency that strip clubs made up. And it's just like a novelty. It doesn't have any real value outside of that club in particular. And how it works is customers can go to the club, and instead of using the ATM machine that's going to charge them like $5 to $20 or whatever, and and getting cash out, they can just go up to the counter and use their credit card and get what's called stripper money. And it's just branded piece of paper with the club's logo on it, and they're just $1 bills. And if a customer pays you in this kind of money, the club takes out a percentage, like 20%. So for every dollar you get paid in the stripper money, you get like 80 cents. Let's say you made $1,000 in a night with stripper money. You only get back $800 of that, because like you owe the club money. So on top of your house, on top of your tip out, they take up a percentage of that stripper money. And when you get these VIP rooms, they take out a percentage of that too. So if you get a VIP room, like a low level one that's like $75, and they take out like a percentage, they take out that $25 and you're just left with $50. $50 for, maybe like 3 or 4 songs may not seem that bad at first when you start working there. But when you like put in like how much money, like how much work you're actually doing, like you're not just dancing, you're being the salesperson, you're being a marketer, you're selling rooms, you're selling dances, you're selling this fantasy, you're talking to all these people. Like, it's a lot of emotional labor, and you're not getting paid hourly. You don't get vacations, you don't get health insurance, you don't have like employer backed 401k. If you get pregnant, you don't have maternity leave. Like, you pay so much in taxes. And if you were to become unemployed or you get fired from this place, they don't owe you severance, and you cannot file for unemployment because you're considered an independent contractor. You're not considered an employee. In some places like LA, this is changing, but some people say they don't like it because they make less money this way. And then there are some clubs that are trying to pay girls in cryptocurrency. I'm probably going to think of some more stuff and make like a community post so that I don't have to keep like interrupting these videos, but I just wanted to mention that real quick. Okay, so there was a crazy person yelling outside of my apartment, and the dogs were barking a lot, and then I had to walk them and everything, and give my phone some time to cool down after overheating. But I am back. So I just want to make a couple points before I leave this video. So I just want to talk about like in regards to like human trafficking and different ways that they try and get you involved. People will pretend to be your friends. People will pretend to date you. Like if you have like, I don't know, like that one friend that's always bragging about how much her regular spent on her, and he's gonna be flying her out of town to some nice location, especially someplace out of the country, and he told her like she could bring a friend, and he thought you were cute and you can come too. You are about to get gang or just plain, or you are about to get sold and you're probably not coming home. That man is not paying for y'all to come out there just for y'all to be cute and take Instagram pictures and chill by the pool for aesthetics to suit his ego. There is an agenda. And there is this trend of girls talking about how they're being flown out by their sugar daddies. Some of those sugar daddies are pimps. Okay? And some of those girls are agents. They're there to recruit other girls into the system. So, like, don't be so naive. Listen to other people's stories when they talk about different ways that they have been trafficked and the ways that they have gotten out of it. Listen to people when they talk about how being in this industry has put them in danger and all the horror stories, you know. I'm not saying this to like be negative or saying that if you went to this lifestyle all these bad things are gonna happen to you, but like don't just look at somebody posting pictures of their money and showing their glamorous lifestyle and think that you're gonna get into it and you're gonna make that much money. It may appear that you make that much money when you first start because there's this new girl money. Like all the new girls make a lot of money because they're new, you're a fresh face, people haven't seen you before. But then, you know, after a while, the novelty kind of wears off and you're just like a regular girl there. Like you can try switching up your wigs, try switching up your makeup, try wearing different kind of outfits and such to kind of like keep it up. But like after you've been there for a couple months, especially like a couple years, like you don't have new girl energy anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much all I could think of, you know, like sure, you know, being a stripper can help you get out of a really bad financial situation. It can help you pay off debt, pay off medical bills. It can help you support somebody that is disabled, including yourself. It can help you escape an abusive relationship. It can help you escape an abusive household if you're still living with your family. It can help you get the funds you need to move out of the state, to go to another country. You know, it can be a really fun, really nice and empowering thing. But, you know, there are dark sides. There are pros and there are cons. And there are different ways in which you have to go about keeping yourself safe. For an example, when people ask you certain questions, you have to answer them in a way that you're evading the answer, and then you have to keep your story straight. And keep track of who you tell what information to, because people will stalk you and people will use certain things against you. For an example, if somebody asks you what school you go to, lie. And when you lie, don't say the school that's next door, don't say the school that's down the street. Say the name of a school that's in a whole other town. Say the name of a school that's in a whole other state if you have to. Somebody asks you, oh, where are you from? Where's your hometown? Lie. Somebody asks you, what high school did you go to? Lie. Somebody asks you, what college did you graduate from if you're a little older? Lie. Somebody asks you, like, oh, like, where do you live at? Like, what area are you at? Like, what neighborhood do you live in? Lie. And when you lie, don't say the next neighborhood over. Say a neighborhood that's completely way across town somewhere. Because people will stalk you. People will keep track of information you tell them. People will go into the club and they'll split off into different groups and pretend like they don't know each other. And they'll keep track of what information, what dancer told which person, and they'll like compile a list and compare notes, and like it's real out here, okay? Just, you know, be safe. Like, yeah, you can get into this industry and you can have fun and you can get yourself out of a really bad toxic situation, but like be safe. Like when you make friends in this industry, be very careful, because some of these people are not your real friends. Some of them are agents. Some of them are just there to get information from you, to use against you, to harass you, to stalk you, to try and blackmail you, or whatever. If you come from a very conservative family and you know that, and you still live with them, and you know that violence against women is very common in your family, and you've heard of horror stories of maybe your cousin or your sister or your auntie getting stoned or getting beaten to death or anything like that, and you know that your family would literally unalive you if they found out that this is what you were doing, I would recommend going to a different state and working, or like a place that is kind of far away from your home area, because it's like you want to reduce the chances of people in your real life finding out what you're doing. Like, there's just different little things that you can do to help keep yourself safe, and beware of fake friends, beware of fake boyfriends, beware of creepy. Just pay attention to the people around you. Go to the club and see how they treat the dancers before going there to audition. Go there on an audition night as a customer and see how they treat the people that are auditioning. Pay attention to like the attitude of the promoters, the workers, the management, and all that. Like, just pay attention to like how they treat the people that are already there. Take notice of the area you're in. If you've never been to that area, Google Maps it and do the street view, and just try and see like what's around that area, and if it's something that you feel comfortable being around. If you are able to, try reaching out to other dancers and try and make friends with them if they are posting stuff on social media and they're in your area. Just if they're open to it, you can try making friends with them and asking questions. There's different Facebook groups, there's different apps for dancers, and there's different people sharing their stories about being a dancer, and they're sharing positive stories, they're sharing negative stories. Just like be safe. I'm not putting this video out there to try and shame people or, be judgmental or whatever. I just feel like we have to be responsible with the content that we put out there and the type of message that we present, and we have to be mindful of who is viewing the content, how they're consuming that content, and the implications of it and the effects of it. Just let people know what's going on before you try and promote something as like the end all be all solution, especially when it comes to an industry that puts so many people in danger in various different ways. Like, even if you're not a dancer, just working in a club as like a bottle girl, a bartender, a waitress, just anything, like just kind of being around that environment can put you in danger. So just be safe and make sure that when you're getting into the industry and you're seeing all this stuff online about how positive and fun it is, also look into stories that people are sharing about their negative experiences, about their toxic experiences, about their the various ways that it has put them in danger, and just how it's changed their perception of reality and how it's changed the way that they interact with people, and like how you view the world kind of changes when you're in this industry. And I don't know how to describe that in a way that people would understand if they're not in the industry. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to share your stories down below if you have any stories of you being a dancer or somebody positive or negative, or just whatever. I'll see you guys later.